Hey there, and welcome back to the show. It is not Tuesday or not Thursday. It's Tuesday, which is very, very odd. I'm usually not live on Tuesday, but thankfully tonight we got Billy Ray Brewton here, who
Oh,
is the man behind Make Believe Seattle Film Festival. Billy Ray, thanks for hanging out tonight.
thanks for having me on, Ryan.
It's been gosh, I think the interview that we did was like 14 months ago on the channel, and a lot has changed since then, including I mean, we kind of started this whole venture with you a part of this. It's been an interesting few months.
It has been indeed, especially for me, considering also in those last few months I moved from Seattle back to Los Angeles. So it's been just a whirlwind of insanity.
And the whole venture thing, I don't know that many of us thought that we would get onto many releases as quick as we have, but you and I have done one
Yep.
together.
Yep. We've done one together. I also did one for a title that we can't mention yet, which is just still mind-blowing to me that I got to be on that. And so here's to many more to come.
Yeah, strong recommendation to check out What Happens Next Will Scare You. That is shipping from TerraVision by the end of this month. And Billy Ray and I did a little visual essay on horror anthologies. How'd you ever come to horror anthologies? You a big fan of them?
Weirdly, no. Um, I mean, yes and no, right? Like, I love a really good horror anthology.
Right.
I just find that maybe 10% of horror anthologies are good, right?
Right.
And I, fortunately, one of my close friends directed a horror anthology, which was honestly part of my inspiration for doing it was like, oh, it gives me a chance to kind of fawn over the Mortuary collection, which is available on Shudder for folks who have not seen it. And I do love a really well-made horror anthology. I just wish more of them were better made.
I strongly recommend people check this out because there are lots of horror anthologies where one or two of the segments are good and then the rest are kind of phoned in a little bit, but
basically the entire VHS series.
Well, I think many people would agree with you. Tonight though, we're mostly here to hype up Make Believe Seattle Film Festival coming March 21st to 26th. Why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, so Make Believe Seattle is sort of my baby. It's a genre festival that takes place in Seattle, Washington. We focus on horror, sci-fi, fantasy, animation, all of that fun stuff, but we really try to do things that other genre festivals don't do. Example being last year we screened the Little Richard I Am Everything doc. We were the only genre festival in the world to screen that. This year we're opening with a doc about Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop. So it's like we deal with your normal genre fare, but also anything that deals, there's the image right now, anything that deals in a heightened imagination. And our theme this year is coming of age in genre. So we're tackling a lot of different coming of age themes throughout the different genres. And we thought, what better film to open the festival with than a documentary about a woman who basically defined the childhood of so many people of a certain age. And it just kind of felt like a natural fit.
I'm very, very happy to hear that this has been continuing. This is the second year of Make Believe, and it appears to be getting much bigger at an exponential rate.
It's certainly much bigger than last year in terms of number of films, in terms of number of guests, in terms of it seems to be the general overall excitement for the festival, which is really gratifying. I mean, it's our second year. We're brand new. There are tons of genre festivals out there. I've been to a lot of them. I like to think that what we do is a little different. We kind of specialize in showcasing diversity in a really sort of intentional way. We have a Native American showcase this year that's programmed by Colleen Thurston from Oklahoma. We've got a Black lens, a queer lens. Over 50% of our films are directed by women. 35% of our films are from BIPOC filmmakers. So, and I wish I could say that we really had to fight for that, but the talent's out there. You've just got to be willing to find it. And I hope more genre festivals start doing that.
Well, I know this is a very odd thing to promote, just a single random corner of the country film festival. But the other side of this is also setting up the rest of the year for film festivals. Many of these films will be playing at other film festivals around you. Certainly not all of them. Definitely some of these will certainly be exclusive, but it might give you a reason to check out some other local film festivals, but also just get a taste for the film festival world, because there are, I mean, I swear every year there's 10 or 20 new film festivals that are popping up out of seemingly nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, film festivals are a dime a dozen these days. And but I do think you just, you have to curate your own experiences,
Right.
is like what I like to say. And if you've never been to Seattle, maybe it's a great time to come visit Seattle, because not only do we have Make Believe, we've got Scarecrow Video, which is the coolest video store in the whole fucking country. We have the Seattle Underground tour. If you're a fan of anything like spooky and out there, like, this is Bigfoot country, y'all. Like, you're gonna find plenty to do in Seattle. And so, if you can fit in a few genre films that Make Believe, make it a vacation. Blow all your money, come to Seattle, have a good time.
Couple hours to the Twin Peaks filming locations,
Absolutely.
Twilight filming locations everywhere. You can do the whole thing in just a few days.
Absolutely. Get your Twilight fix while you're there. Absolutely. Team Edward, Team Jacob, Team Who Cares.
One of the big additions to Make Believe Seattle this year is an incredible social media manager who's with us tonight. Courtney is watching. Hello to my sister.
Yeah. Oh, why is that your sister, Ryan? I had no idea. People talk about Nepo babies all the time, and we're getting into some real world Nepo discussions here.
We certainly are. Courtney's amazing. I'm glad she could help out this year. What is other than coming of age in the queer lens? What is something that you're hoping for out of the film festival this year?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, ultimately, I would love to see some of these amazing films find homes. I mean, in terms of distribution, we've got some films that already have distributors, and that's amazing for them. But we have a lot of films from, first time filmmakers who are just getting their start in the industry. It would be nice to be able to see some of those films, find distributors or find folks that love them as much as I do and as much as the programming team does. That would be the ultimate success, I think, is to get some of those picked up.
So, for those that are watching or listening later that have never gone to a film festival and don't know how that works, when you say get a film picked up, what does that mean? How does that work at a film festival?
Sure. Well, I mean, it doesn't work that way at most film festivals, frankly. Most film festivals don't have sort of the infrastructure to, to deal with, like, having distributors there and, like, and setting those kinds of things up. And I don't, not necessarily saying that we have that infrastructure either as a 2-year festival, but we have some amazing jurors, some of which who work for distribution companies. We have someone who works for Leonardo DiCaprio's company, Appian Way. We have some other festival programmers who might like something that they see and program it elsewhere down the road. I'm thinking of Drea Clark, who's the artistic director at the Bentonville Film Festival, which is Gina Davis's film festival. I'm thinking of Ernie Kuraz, who works for South by Southwest. We have a good mix of local Seattle people, folks from distribution companies, folks from other festivals and programmers, and just hoping that, if they can make a big enough splash and Make Believe, they'll find more traction as they move along. Some films, though, are reaching the end of their festival run and are going to be on VOD or available, in April or May or something like that. So hopefully it's a good mix.
We're also seeing some rep screenings this time, correct?
Oh, you're seeing some rep screenings, all right. We have several. I'll highlight a couple. We are doing a tribute to the filmmaker Albert Pune. And if you've never heard the name Albert Pune, shame on you. But Albert Pune directed Cyborg, directed just a ton of 80s and 90s sort of like super fun, heavily stylized B movies. And so there's a new documentary about Albert Pune. It's called Albert Pune, King of Cult Movies. It's actually directed by Lisa Diapolito, who directed our opening night film as well, Sherry and Lamb Chop. This is just a documentary about Albert, his work. It follows him as he's trying to make his newest film. The film goes in some unexpected directions, which I won't spoil, but we're going to be screening that. And it's going to be the West Coast premiere. And I believe it's the mainland United States premiere, because I believe it's only ever screened in Hawaii. But we've got that film, and then right after we're going to be screening Albert Pune's 1993 film Arcade, which if you've never seen Arcade, seeing it on the big screen for your first experience, I promise you're going to have a good time. It's just kind of our way of honoring someone whose work I think gets lost a little bit in the shuffle and and has been underrated over the years. When I found out that documentary was made, I was like, hot damn, like these are the documentaries I want to see. I want to see these type of filmmakers get celebrated because they deserve it.
And this is a big thing, obviously, because Albert Pune has been getting finally like a little more recommendation, but unfortunately a little too late because he passed in November of 2022.
Yep.
And so now we can posthumously try to give a little bit more respect.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got Albert Pune doc.
Yes.
We've got Sherry and Lamb Chop. That's the opening. Anything else about Sherry and Lamb Chop that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I remember Lamb Chop's play along when I was a kid. I watched it. I watched a lot of the shows that dealt with kind of more the rudimentary puppets, and I just thought they were fun, and I thought they were clever, and like I knew they weren't the best puppets because I'd also was watching Jim Henson stuff. You don't watch Labyrinth and then like, oh God, Charlie Horse just blew me away. But it's the love that went into it and the creativity that went into it. And I think what's so remarkable about this documentary is if you think you know anything about Sherry Lewis, it really touches on, I don't want to say the darker side, but I guess it is the darker side. Like, we're complicated human beings. We contain multitudes. Right. Like, yes, she was a beloved children's entertainer, but she also had a life. And I think the documentary does a really beautiful job of capturing all of that. And I don't know, I watched it and I just felt creative. It made me feel creative. It was like, if she can do this with so little and make such a global impact, then I need to get my lazy ass off the sofa and get creative. And she was just remarkably talented person, and someone else that I don't think isn't celebrated as much as they should be. When we think about these iconic children's entertainers, we think of Fred Rogers, right?
Right.
We think of Jim Henson. We don't always think of Sherry Lewis. Is that because she's a woman? Yes, to some degree. I think it is. I think it's, it's just a shame. And if this doc can help get her name out there, back out in the, in the populace, we're happy to help it do that.
That's a big deal. So what is the next title we should reveal for Make Believe 2024?
Well, we'll stick on the rep screening bandwagon, and we'll talk a little bit about an event that I'm crazy excited about. So my favorite film podcast in the world is Film Spotting, based in Chicago. Adam Kempenaar, Josh Larson, one of the OG original film podcasts that's still going strong. Josh is actually coming to Make Believe, and we're doing a screening of The Devil's Backbone, the Guillermo del Toro film. Josh has a new book out called Fear Not, A Christian Appreciation of Horror Movies. And Josh is going to be there. We're going to screen the film. There's going to be a talk back after. He's going to be talking about religion and Christianity, how it plays into the horror genre. And I think it's going to be just a wild and wonderful conversation. And Josh is honestly one of the most eloquent film critics out there. So, that was a no-brainer. The moment I started planning for this festival this year, I was like, I got to get Josh there. Got to make it happen.
Ever since I heard about this book coming out, I was fascinated. I'm dying to see what he's got to say about some of these. And if you've never listened to Film Spotting, film podcasts are obviously like a dime a dozen. Obvious, any topic that you can think of, there's probably one or 43 covering it. Film Spotting is not like anything else, truly. It is up there in the pantheon of greats, and one that I would certainly hope that most people have listened to at least once to make a decision if you love movies.
Yeah, and absolutely. And if you've never seen Devil's Backbone on the big screen,
right.
It's my favorite Guillermo del Toro film. And so the chance to see it, I saw it when it first came out in theaters. The chance to see it again on a theater screen is going to be too much to pass up for this homosexual.
I've never seen it on a big screen, so I'm certainly jealous. That book is available now. I believe it is in stock, and you can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is available everywhere you find books. And even though I did not prepare a fancy graphic for this one, I am going to also just plug as a retro screening. We are doing a kids matinee as well of Something Wicked This Way Comes, the
Wow.
1983 Disney film, which most people call dark Disney because that was during the period of like Watcher in the Woods and the Black Cauldron, and like when Disney was really going out there with their kids fare. And I've been obsessed with this film since I was a kid. It was so hard to find for so long. Now it's available again. We are going to do a kids matinee screening of that. So Seattle folks, bring your kids, introduce them to horror and genre at a young age, please.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And honestly, it kind of just fits Seattle super well. A lot of that, it just feels very Seattle. So maybe before we go to the next one, what about the facilities? What can you highlight for where this is at, and what the actual grounds have to offer for everybody showing up?
Yeah, so our primary venue this year is the Erickson Theater on Capitol Hill. It is part of Seattle Colleges. It is a dance theater. It's actually my favorite theater on Capitol Hill. You know, it's got an amazing lobby area. The screening room, I think, is terrific. Everybody there is just wonderful. That's where a lot of our events are going to be during the festival. But we're also at Northwest Film Forum, which, you know, that's a pretty nationally recognized theater, the house that Lynn Shelton built. And we're going to be screening in both of their theaters, as well as the Grand Illusion, which is the oldest running indie theater in Seattle. So those are our venues this year. They're all incredible. Like, they're amazing places to watch movies. And I mean, if you've never been there, you're in for a treat.
I'm dying to see all of these. Maybe next year. I'm so stoked that you've been able to grow this to what it is already.
Well, me too. None more pleased than I.
All right, let's go with our next title. We just saw Devil's Backbone. What should we do next?
You know what? Let's mix it up a little bit. I want to talk about. So we have 3 categories at my festival. We have shorts, we have features, and we have mid-lengths. And a mid-length, it's not a category you see in a lot of festivals. I'm hoping that's going to start changing soon. But so our definition of mid-length is anything between 45 minutes and 75 minutes. So if it falls in that range, it's considered a mid-length. And we have one that I'm sort of obsessed with. It's called Gush. And this is part of our Native American showcase. It's from a first-time filmmaker named Fox Maxey. And it is a collection of video footage and images over a period of time in Fox's life. And it is creating this sort of conversation about diversity and gender. And it's just you could definitely categorize it as experimental. But boy, oh boy, like I was just transfixed the entire time. It's one of the absolute best things I screened this year for the festival. And and I'm just, I knew when I set out to do a Native American showcase, because we wanted to do one last year. We just weren't able to get it together. And I was honestly pretty crushed about that. And so it became a real like front and center priority for year 2. And within like a month or 2 of submissions being open, it was like, my God, like there are so many incredible genre filmmakers in like the Native American community and indigenous communities all over. You just gotta they just don't have the kinds of showcases for their work that a lot of other communities do. And so this was a perfect example. Gush came out of nowhere. It was recommended by our programmer, Colleen, and knocked my socks off. And I think folks are I think it's a really moving film. It's a really impactful film. I think folks are going to really, really enjoy it.
I am, fascinated. We talked about this last year because it's such a unique way to showcase movies with this whole mid-length category. I'm fascinated to see how there might be a future for that at other festivals, but beyond that, future for releases, because not a lot of theaters, not a lot of VOD, not a lot of physical media is ever dedicated to those types of films. So I really hope showcases like this really help.
Well, I've been programming for a long time because I am an old man now. And in the early days when I was programming, if you were to get a 45-minute, 55-minute film, it would generally not even get considered.
Right.
Because it was like, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to do anything with this. And I think a lot of programmers are that way at festivals. You see a film that's 35, 40 minutes, whatever. It's like, oh God, what am I going to do with this? It can't really work in the shorts block. I can't put it before a feature. But like now, that's changed a lot. And about 4 or 5 years ago, you started seeing certain festivals start to program these smaller films. And you started seeing filmmakers not be like ashamed by the fact that they had an hour and 10-minute movie because they thought it wasn't a real film at that length. Like, you can make a real film at any length. Like, there are no barriers. Like, you can make a 53-minute movie that is just as good as an hour and 45-minute movie. And, we have 4 mid-lengths this year, which is what we had last year. All 4 of them can stand up against any feature in the festival. They're all of that level. So yeah, I hope more people start programming mid-lengths. That people start taking that more seriously, because I do think it's just a totally unique way to watch movies.
What do we got next?
Next up, we're gonna let's jump to our closing night film. Our closing night film comes from France. And it is called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. This is a film that's played several festivals already. It's been extremely popular at all of those festivals. It's just absolutely and utterly charming. It's about a vampire, a young girl who's a vampire who does not like killing people for their blood. It's not something that she enjoys doing. She has kind of an aversion to it. So she, starts looking for someone who maybe doesn't want to live anymore. And maybe that way she doesn't have to, unwillingly kill someone. But so she finds a guy who is very depressed and doesn't want to be here anymore. But his caveat is that he will be her victim if she spends one night helping him do everything he was wanted to do before he dies. And so it's kind of a weird friendship and romance movie. It's a horror movie. It's a comedy. It's got that biting sort of French wit to it. Right. It was absolutely the favorite film our screening committee saw all year long. They absolutely went crazy for it. And that honestly, above all else, is why we made it closing night. We were like, if our screening committee loves it this month, people will too.
I think I had heard this one from some other festival, because it's not the premiere for this one, right? It's played a couple.
No. It is not. It is not the premiere. It is the Pacific Northwest premiere, but it's played at a couple of festivals now.
Yeah, I've heard this one is pretty incredible. So I can't wait to. I'm sure this will get some sort of distribution.
Well, it's already with Giant / Drafthouse Films, so I think it's probably already pretty set.
Nice. All right, then. What else do we have on the docket?
We're going to switch gears to a movie that I think a lot of people out there, if they showed up to make believe just knowing it's a genre festival and they stumbled into this movie, they would probably be really pissed at me. But this is the perfect example of how we really push the definition of what genre means. Because yes, genre is sci-fi, horror, fantasy, all that fun stuff. But for us, it's also anything that deals with a heightened imagination and creativity in a big way. And so there's a film called Bonus Track. And this is a film, it's only played a couple festivals. It is from first-time filmmaker Julia Jackman, and it is written by Josh O'Connor from The Crown, who's also in the new Luca Guadagnino movie Challengers with Zendaya. And so he actually wrote the screenplay and is actually in the film. It's sort of like a feature version of Heartstopper for folks who love that series. Yeah. It's about these 2 young guys. They start falling for each other. One of them is the son of a famous musician, and they start getting ready for a talent show. So it follows a lot of similar formulas that you're used to in those types of films, but it is so just effortlessly charming and sweet and wonderful. And it is the epitome of coming of age. Is there horror? Are there murders? Are there anything like that? Absolutely not. But music is so front and center in it. Music is like the ultimate creative endeavor. Like for me, it makes sense. Like others might scoff at that being in a genre festival. And I say, scoff to you. But it's lovely. It's one of our centerpiece films too. So we're really proud of that one.
This seems like it would be very at home with some of the more popular, super like successful indies the last couple of years. And I'm just hoping to see it get some sort of the same recognition, like Passages from last year, or a handful of others. I mean, this one sounds fantastic.
It's absolutely lovely. And again, if you love Heartstopper, Sex Education, like some of those amazing shows on Netflix, like it's going to be right up your alley.
I mean, that sounds incredible. What else, sir?
Switching over to, well, I think the best way to describe this is to just read the tagline first. And the tagline is very simple. Two people got kidnapped. One man lost his dick. No one got any money. And that film is Dickweed. And this film hasn't even premiered yet. It premieres at South by Southwest in March, like a week before our festival. But it is about this heist that happened in California where a man was abducted. I don't want to say what happened, but you could maybe guess from the description that I just gave you. But if you're a fan of those like wild true crime documentaries, I mean, this is as wild as it gets. And this already has distribution. It's going to be streaming, or it's going to be premiering on a streaming service, I believe in April or May. So a couple months after the festival. We're super excited that we've got it so close to South by. The producer, Brian Storkel, I've known for several years. He directed this. If you've seen the movie Bitcon on Netflix, which just dropped recently, he directed that. He's directed some incredible documentaries as well. Yeah, it's just wild. It's gonna, out of all the films we're screening, I think it's gonna be the one that makes people gasp more than any other.
That's good. You always need at least one of those.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody who doesn't gasp when someone's, it's just.
Well, beyond that, it sounds like the one that people will probably go home with stories about.
I would hope so. I hope so. I hope they have plenty of stories.
All right, we got a handful of others. Next one.
Next one is another music-focused film. And so this is another one. Again, I'm going to tell you, like I said, we've got something for everybody. So if all you want to check out is the horror, the blood and guts, the creature features, we got you covered, but this is not it. This is a film called Lost Souls. And this one is really special. It came to us late in the screening process, so it could have just as easily have been, accidentally overlooked. And it follows a young rapper who kind of leaves behind his hometown and goes on this sort of expedition across the state of Texas with friends, meeting new people. And it's got some of the most insanely catchy and amazing music, like original music of any film I've heard the last couple of years. I mean, seriously, like they put so much love and work into the songs in this film, and they are such earworms. And the fact that this film doesn't have more like recognition on the festival circuit or in the film, is mind-boggling to me. I saw this and immediately jumped up to my list of favorite films for the festival. And it's all a group of like unknown young performers. They're all terrific. Like it's just such kind of, it's like youthful energy bottled up into like a 90-minute package, and it's absolutely lovely.
Interesting. I feel like there's a handful, maybe not a handful, but it's some cropping up that are like trying to chase this sort of feeling. But I've heard this one's pretty damn good.
It is. It's a winner.
Gosh, there's so many good things I want to see right now. I'm so glad that people get the opportunity for these. All right, next one, sir.
Next one. So this is probably the one I'm most excited about. This is it's a world premiere. And I'm going to mention two of our world premieres, even though one we don't have a fancy graphic for, but this one we do. And it's called The Most Atrocious Thing. This is a film that was made by a group of Chapman University students on a $5,000 budget. It is what would happen if the Please Don't Destroy guys remade Cabin Fever for Troma. That's the best way to put it. It's about a group of friends who are getting ready to take that next step in life. They go out on this weekend getaway, and oh damn, they eat infected deer meat, which turns them into bloodthirsty, ravenous, like insane people. And it's got this cheeky sense of humor about itself. It understands what type of film it is. Lloyd Kaufman even makes a cameo. Like it knows exactly what it's doing. And I think the humor is there. I think the performance, I think everybody, they're all friends. You can tell that they're, it's a group of friends making a movie together for like no money with glue and duct tape. And the fact that they were able to make something that is so impressive, like is mind-boggling to me. I'm super, super excited to be world premiering it. The entire team is coming out. So it's like 8, 10, 12 of these kids coming out who made this film, because it's a big collective that made it. And so they're all coming out to the festival. I think people are going to really, really, absolutely love this film. It's wild. It's the epitome of what this festival was created for. And that's the best thing, the best compliment I can give it.
See, if you're not going to be inspired by Lamb Chop, this is the kind of thing that always gets me. Because if I can watch this and go, they made this for $5,000. What am I doing? Why am I just sitting at home with ideas and not making a fucking movie?
Yeah. And I hear the deer puppet will be in attendance.
Amazing.
I hear the deer puppet will be in attendance. But this deer puppet would eat lamb chop. So
understandable.
Got to keep them apart.
Well, I know what the other world premiere is, but let's share that. This one's pretty damn exciting.
Yeah. So if you know Graham Skipper, good buddy Graham Skipper, he's been on our Incinerator podcast, which we host. He's on Screen Drafts a lot, which I'm the heel on famously. Graham has a brand new movie. It is called The Lonely Man with the Ghost Machine. We are world premiering that at the festival. It is definitely a passion project. It is definitely a personal film for Graham. It's about a man who at the end of the world is sort of dealing with these feelings of like loss and regret. And also, let's just say that there is an actual ghost machine that is mentioned in the title. It's sci-fi. It's that Lovecraftian cosmic horror. And yeah, I think folks are going to love it. The fact that we got those two are our world premieres, like I couldn't be happier. Like we're just super grateful to have gotten them. So,
especially when one is literally a close friend of yours, that's a big deal.
Yes. So it definitely. If people hate the movie, Graham, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. P.S. They won't hate the movie.
With Make Believe last year, you had some events, or are there any other guests that are expected? Anything else happening that we can shout out?
Yeah, we can. So we're screening a documentary called I'm George Lucas, the Connor Ratliff story. So if you don't know Connor Ratliff, if you've heard the Dead Eyes podcast, which is one of the greatest podcasts ever, where Connor Ratliff basically goes on a podcast mission to find out about why he was fired from a Tom Hanks production years before for having dead eyes. And it finally culminated with Tom Hanks himself being on the podcast to answer that question. Well, that's Connor Ratliff. He also hosts this amazing sort of underground show called George Lucas Talk Show, where he plays George Lucas. Griffin Newman from the Tick and the Blank Check podcast plays Watto. And then Patrick Cotnoir is also part of that group. Well, they're all going to be there for the documentary. And then immediately after the screening, they're going to be doing a live presentation of the George Lucas Talk Show. So you're going to get extra bang for your buck there. You're going to get the documentary, which is wonderful. It just world premiered at Slam Dance. And then you're going to be getting an actual live George Lucas Talk Show, which, they don't come around that often. So take advantage while you can. And I'll just let folks know, so far, people are very much taking advantage. So if there's any, after day one of tickets being on sale, if there's anything that I can say is the hot ticket, it is definitely that. Nice. People definitely seem to be really interested in that. So, and it's a wonderful film and event. And those guys are amazing. And we're super excited about that. Now, in terms of other guests, I mean, we are still, we have a secret screening that is happening the last day of the festival that we can't announce yet, that we won't announce until the week before the festival. There might be someone of note coming with that. I don't want to say anything at the moment, but it's very possible / likely. But I will shout out for fans of The Forbidden Zone, the classic movie, The Forbidden Zone. Richard Elfman and his wife Anastasia will be at the festival for their new film, Bloody Bridget. They are going to be doing a burlesque performance with the film. And that movie is batshit. I can't wait. The movie is scored by Danny Elfman, Richard's brother. And if you love Forbidden Zone, if you love, anything that Richard's done over the years, Shrunken Heads or Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks, like it's right in your wheelhouse. And that one's going to be wild. I never would have thought that I was going to be doing an event with Richard Elfman. But
Right.
let me tell you, it has made me more excited than anything. Such a
Nice.
such a lovely person. But yeah, we've got so many filmmakers attending. So if shorts, features, mid lengths, we've got filmmakers galore that are going to be there. So it'll definitely is a good chance for you to get talk to folks who are making the movies, and hopefully spark some creativity in your own life.
Well, we've kind of tap danced around it. We have not really mentioned dates or tickets. Dates, March
Yeah.
21st to 26th.
Yeah, so we technically kick off on March 20th. It's what we call our soft opening. Gives us a chance to work out any kinks, and we're doing that at Grand Illusion Cinema with an event called Snicker Treat, where we're showing 4 Halloween-themed episodes of classic Snick shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Clarissa Explains It All, Adventures of Pete and Pete, and Salute Your Shorts. And so it's going to be a really fun night. Wear your pajamas. We'll have junk food, and just come and have fun being a kid again. But yeah, that's the 20th. Festival runs the 20th through the 20th through the 26th. Tickets are on sale now. You can get a VIP pass for $250. It gets you into every film, every event, and it gives you access to our filmmaker lounge from Tito's Handmade Vodka. So that means you get free drinks the whole festival. Who can beat that? We have a $150 festival pass that gets you into all the films and all the events. We have day passes for Saturday and Sunday if you can only make it one day. We have an events pass if all you want to do is check out the events. So we got you covered. So you can go to the website. You can go to makebelieveseattle.com. You can go right there, get all of the tickets you need, all the passes you need. I would recommend the passes. I think we have enough films to warrant it this year that are going to blow you away. But if individual tickets are your jam, we got you covered.
I'm so jealous. Not only great movies, fun events. You'll be there. My sister will be there. I won't be able to do anything.
It almost seems like we're compiling all this to like destroy you on an emotional level.
Yes, I'm super jealous. Everything sounds incredible. Any buttons that we want to put on it? Anything we're forgetting?
I need to thank our sponsors. I mean, we have amazing sponsors. Mubi. If you're not already a Mubi fan, you should be. They're one of the best streaming services out there. They're back as a sponsor. Fangoria. We love Fangoria. They're back again. Again, Tito's Handmade Vodka, which is clearly the best vodka in the world. Surely you'd agree, right, Ryan?
I've heard that. So yeah,
Okay.
I will say I agree.
Hotel Sorrento and W Seattle, which are 2 hotels in Seattle that are incredibly generous to us. The Stranger, Letterboxd. We're so stoked to have Letterboxd on board this year. And then C80, and then C89.5, Seattle's Home for Dance. They're actually co-presenting our opening night yacht rock party. And so that's right. Come dance the night away to the sounds of Ambrosia, Bertie Higgins, Later Day Beach Boys.
Later Day Beach Boys. That's what I've always heard that people are clamoring for.
Hey, people want their Kokomo.
This is such a Billy Ray party. I love it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's very much. If you've ever wanted, and I can't imagine anybody has, if you've ever wanted to come and just sit inside my brain for 5-6 days, this is your chance.
and even if you haven't, I promise it'll probably be at least a little bit fun.
God have mercy on your souls if you choose to do
it. Let's see. Other than Make Believe, what else is going on in the world of Billy Ray?
Great question, Ryan. Well, we just we're just kicking back off Incinerator. We just recorded a new episode recently. It felt like it had been years. And I'm not going to say that we weren't a little rusty. I think that's fair. We were a little rusty, but we're going to get our groove back. But it was a great episode. We incinerated the films of Clint Eastwood with Craig and Dennis from Deaf Crocodile. So that's going to be dropping this week. So get ready for that one. And so been up to that, other than that, though, just, living the dream, doing the work, waiting on the next somebody's favorite productions, commentary to come along.
We are still finishing up the last title that you worked on, and I'm so eager to share with everybody. I so much so I wish it was done and announced so that we could just talk about it tonight.
I know.
It's not very often that somebody that's doing special features for a production company like this literally gets the opportunity to do their favorite film of all time.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Yep, it is a big deal. Now, and I will say that person is not me, but it is another person who worked with us on the project. And it's in my top 25, so it's up there for me. It always has been. But this person, it is their legit favorite movie of all time. And so getting to allow them to do that was as good as doing the actual commentary, frankly.
I wasn't even a part of the commentary, just listening afterwards. It's just, this is literally just three people giddy just to be able to talk about this movie.
I know. It was fabulous. And yeah, other than that, just kind of doing the film thing out here in LA as I can, working my jobs, doing my thing.
You got another podcast. You want to shout that one out?
I do have another podcast. I have a political podcast, and it's called Center Clueless. And me and my buddy Eric Searle host it. We are both sort of middle of the road folks who are tired of the left, tired of the right, and just want to rest in the center for a little while until shit calms down and gets normal again. And so every week we kind of ran and rave like a couple of white dudes, because who doesn't want to hear two middle-aged white dudes bitching about the world? There's just not enough of that in podcasts, Ryan.
I don't understand how we don't have about 500,000 more of those podcasts.
I don't understand either. I mean, when I found out we were the only one, I was shocked.
I'm so grateful to produce the only one of those in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that a political podcast was a novelty, but I guess it is.
Everybody should follow Billy Ray and Make Believe on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They are everywhere. Literally, while we've been doing this, they've been shouting things out on all the social media to get everybody to come watch this. So social media is alive and well for Make Believe. If you're anywhere near Seattle, check it out, please.
Please do. And I'll throw in, if you want to come, if you're like, I really want to come, we have some amazing hotel partners who are offering incredible discounts. So if you want to come, hit us. We have that information on our website. But if you have questions, you can hit us up too, and we can try to make sure that you get connected with the right place to stay.
Not to put you on the spot, have you decided that you're going to be doing this again in 2025?
Well, I mean, I think the plan is to absolutely do it again. Okay. Now, if something happens and like the festival's an unmitigated disaster, then maybe we'll take pause. But no, we're gonna. Yeah, the plan is to hopefully keep this going for many, many more years to come.
So what I was going to say is this festival's in 5 weeks, and if that's not enough time for you to plan a trip from Louisiana, if that's where you live, to head up to Seattle, maybe plan for 13 months from now, and somewhere around then we can plan on you coming in 2025.
Absolutely. You can go ahead and start making your plans. We'll screen something for you.
And obviously, if you like the slate this year, you're probably going to like the taste next year.
Well, in theory.
All right, Billy Ray, this has been incredible. I really hope people check out Make Believe. Thanks for doing this.
No, thanks for having me on, Ryan. Appreciate it.
And to everybody else out there, we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.